community. And Memorial number one was the first church that came out of our church because the members had to come over there and join, and then later on they established a church there. And then there were other churches like Rock Creek and all that came out that was organized by our church. So after that, then that's when the association, now the year that the association was actually in existence, we don't know because we couldn't find any record when it was actually established. But we just projected that it had to be several years after our church had been organized because you couldn't have an association anything before a church was ever established. And our church was just 150 years old last year. Let's see what else I could think about that.
Can you tell us something about your dad who was a dean?
Yeah, my dad was a religious person, a very smart person, an educated person. He was the principal of the Span Junior High School where where I attended when I was in grade school. They were instrumental in getting that center started over there. He and my mother, they had a picture of them over there, and we couldn't find his picture, but we found my mother's picture after the building was torn down. I mean, it was just bolted up or whatever. My dad taught school for about 40 some years before he retired. And then he was also a farmer because teachers weren't making too much. And then he had to do that to supplement what was done. He served as president when the Congress, when we had organized the Congress. Reverend Tim Robinson, who was the president of the convention, would have become the president of the Congress. But due to he was health failing, he gave back and had my dad become president of the Congress. And he was president of the Congress for about 50 some years before he retired. Later on, Mac Jenkins was the last vice that worked on, I think was Deacon Joe Robinson one, and then after he passed, Mac Jenkins was chosen. And Daddy trained him in the work of being a president. He took him to all the board meetings and whatnot and brought him up. So he served, and under him, that's when we had when the Congress really started with the subjects and whatnot that we were doing. One of the activities that we had that was very interesting to boost the income in our Congress, we had was a king and queens contest in each church. And the church that raised the most money, that person was crowned king and queen. And on the Friday, which was the last day, we had a big parade. And we had the float for the king and the queen, and all the churches had a float in the parade or decorated car, whatever they had. We would line up down at Memorial number 2, and they would parade all the way up to the center. And we were always instrumental in getting Central Band to lead the parade for us. We had our marshals and whatnot. Then when we would get to the center, we had the children's program then, and after that we would serve them, so that was an incentive for them to look for something because they always liked to be in the parade. My dad also served as superintendent of our Sunday school for I don't know how many years, because every time as long as I was going, and I think it's only about 2 other superintendents who preceded him. Who was behind him. He was also a deacon of our church. Daddy took a lot of courses in what each position demand, and he knew what deacons were supposed to do. He knew what ministers were supposed to do. So he didn't bother. He taught some of the other deacons in the church the responsibility of being a deacon, that they, what their responsibility was, that they were not the leaders of the church, but they were the arm bearers of the minister. But he was highly recognized in the county and in the state. The superintendent of education had a lot of respect for my daddy, and she was white, and whenever she had to do a presentation somewhere, she always brought it to my daddy to proofread it for her. We got along with the white people in the community well. They had high respect for my dad. We had no problem with white people. They highly respected my daddy, and they respected us as well. Let me see, what else can I say?
If you had to give some wisdom to those who are now in service, what would you tell them?
Be fair, be partial, impartial, be patient, be loving, and forgiving. Just like when we changed the name from the convention to the Congress, and those churches got out, what we did, we went back. And we went back to the old name until we got everything calmed down, and we got them back in union with everything. We took them one by one and sat down with them, explained to them, this is the procedure for doing things, this is what we gotta do. And it's no harm in it. We're not changing any programs, we're not changing, it's the same thing, it's just a name change. And everybody just fell in line, so everything just moved along smoothly. One thing is, what I don't like is I don't like cliques, and I don't like politics in the church. I've never run for anything, out there. I made application one time for a position, and I didn't have to do it, but my daddy made me do it. When I finished college, and I was the first person who started working in Lowndes County in the teaching profession with a BS degree. Had somebody bringing a girl in, I think. And my daddy, I had 3 openings, and he made me send in an application to the superintendent applying for the position that I already had been given, but he wanted to go through the formality. But I never went out and say I wanted this, give it to me. I have always been asked to accept all of the positions that I have accepted. And when things are done in love and in order, then things will go along well. And that's one thing I would just say, just have patience. Treat everybody the same way. Don't have favoritism. And don't have cliques. And don't play politics, not in church. My daddy used to always say, when it would come to like elections and whatnot, and somebody come by Robin's Rule of Order, my dad always said that church runs by love. And you see, say, we know some parliamentary procedure, but let love be the ruling part of everything that is done. Let's not be so technical about some things that need to be done, but let love be the binding thing that let it be the main rule for everything. Let everything be done with love. And the Bible says to tarry with one another. You know, sometimes we get so hasty with things until we lose some people in the way. But my thing to them, and I've been in the district longer than anybody in old Alabama district is in there now. All of those people are newcomers to me. And I've been there all, I work with old ministers, I work with young ministers, I work with all types of people. And I can't say that I was anybody who was disrespectful to me. They were very respectful. And when I started, I was a young person. I was the youngest one that was holding office in the convention. I was just out of college. I hadn't even gotten married when I started with that, being secretary, because one time, because my husband was another denomination, and my daddy told him when they first wanted me for secretary, said, well, she might get married, and she may go to another denomination. But he and I had already made the agreement that we would stay wherever we were, as long as we promised we weren't going to interfere, but then, boy, we were just doing two Sundays, and they were doing two Sundays, and it was opposite Sundays, and things went well. But I would like to see back in old Alabama, I would like to see love, unity, and harmony prevailing. And that's the only way we're going to thrive, and we're going to stay together. We got to be together. We got to learn to work together. We got to learn to love each other. And one thing, and I'm over the Artivision Star, and one of the men that are working along with me, we were talking about something, and he said, some people, when you go into things, they put their hand in it before they put their heart in it. And anything you go into thinking what you're going to get out of it, you're going to fail. But you go into thinking what good you can do for the order. And I could say for the Order Vista, at one point, we had like 30,000 members, and our membership kind of decreased. And then we had a person that did away with a lot of the funds and whatnot. If it came down to salaries, we have people working in the office. If we were short, I was the first one that would give up my salary. Pay the others. Don't think about me. I'm gonna make it, and that's what we would do. I work in my church. I'm the financial secretary. I've been working as a secretary in that church I've been in every department in that church except being a deacon and a pastor. And I have yet to collect the first penny for anything. All the conventions I've gone to, I have paid my way. I work in my church without a salary. I'm the only one that I don't get a penny. I don't let them give me any, not even a Christmas gift. That's my talent. It's a talent that God gave me, and that's what I use it for. When I first started as secretary of the Congress, we were getting something like $15, $10 and $15 for 3 days' work. I had to come home, and I had to compile all those minutes. Then we had committees, and each one of them committees made their report, and I had to put that report in there, and all of the other stuff was in there. We'd have a little thick minute. I had to compile that minute and get that minute to the press. After everybody else was relaxing, I'm still working, trying to get things done. But I got pleasure out of doing it. It was something that I liked doing it. It didn't seem like it was work to me, and I enjoyed doing it.
Sister Pringle,
Mm-hmm.
we want to say thank you for sharing
Mm-hmm.
your story with us.
Mm-hmm.
What you have shared with us is like a heritage because it's teaching us
Mm-hmm.
how things were,
Mm-hmm.
and now you're giving us wisdom
Mm-hmm.
on how to proceed to go on.
Mm-hmm.
So for this, we say thank you.
Okay. Mm-hmm.
Thank you.
All right. Mhm.